How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Envision Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Portillo, joined by my lovely co-host, looking in all pink today. Okay, not all pink, but looking in a pretty pink shirt today. My co-host and wife, Lynn Portillo.
Hey, guys.
Hopefully, everyone has had a phenomenal week. We know that you went out there and oh my goodness, I can't even speak. We know you went out there and you shattered your limits and ascended. And hopefully, everyone has had a great week this week and that you've been productive and we're able to spend some time outside where we live. It's been gorgeous out this weekend, this whole week in general.
Nice, yeah.
One day it did get a little cold, but it felt really good, especially for summer. It was a nice little break for a day or two, so that was really nice. But hopefully wherever you're at, you're enjoying the season, you're spending some time outside, and you're getting to do the things that you want to do this time of year. Lynn, how's your week? How's everything going?
It's been good. Like you said, the weather's been really nice, so I've been working outside. I've been trying to get 2 walks a day in because, I'm not doing 75 hard anymore, but I'm still trying to get those 2 workouts in a day just because it's so beautiful outside and it makes me feel so much better. So
Correct.
I've been enjoying the weather.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, hold on. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Now that you haven't done 75 hard, what are some of the things that you mentioned the 2 workouts, but are there other things that you're still continuing to do since not doing the program?
Yeah, I've maintained the diet still. I'm still trying to be healthy with what I pick to eat, no fast food, really trying to stay away from the processed stuff. I still read every day, the 10 pages or so, maybe even more. And the only thing I'm not really doing, which I need to be doing because I'm feeling it, is not drinking the gallon of water.
Okay.
But I'll notice middle of the day, if I've only had a little bit of water, I'm like, whoa, my body really adjusted to that gallon. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I need to chug some water right now. I drank like 40 ounces last night right before bed, and I didn't have to wake up to go to the restroom at all. So I'm like, yeah, I need to drink more water.
Well, I think it's because we'll talk about that, but what we did yesterday. And I don't know how healthy it is to drink 40 ounces of water right before bed.
But I was thirsty. I couldn't stop. It was just naturally me drinking it.
Listen, to my defense, all day yesterday I checked in. Do you want water? No, I'm fine. Do you want water? No, I'm fine. I should have just forced you to drink water while we were outside.
I had a water bottle, so
I
was slowly sipping on it. But yeah, I was so focused on what we were doing that I was like, I'm fine. It's okay.
Fair enough. Okay.
Take care of you and the baby.
So reading, gallon of water, working out. How are you feeling though? Do you see a shift? And I've noticed that we were intentional about this, about doing a check-in on our 75 hard progress when we started this whole journey together again. So we do, we check in on our 75 hard progress. We also check in our peaks and valleys, and then we kind of go into our topic of the day. But okay, so you've incorporated those things. What shifts, what mindset shifts or physical shifts or just any shifts in general have you noticed in yourself since going through 75 hard this second time and not completing it?
Well, when I was sick and stuff and I didn't do those things, it felt really weird not to maintain those habits. So, as the week continued, I didn't do 2 workouts a day. I was only doing 1 walk, and I felt it. I could feel it already. Like I was getting lazy, I guess, and complacent. Yeah. So, and the cravings. It's like because my body knew and mind knew I wasn't in the challenge, I'm like, wow, like I could go get some In-N-Out right now.
Yeah.
And
it sounded
Alex
good a couple
can't
times.
have it. Yeah. Although we're probably not having burgers for a really long time because
fine.
Alex lived off of burgers for a whole week. But it's definitely a mindset thing because when you're in a challenge, you're like, go, go, go. I'm going to do this. But when you're not in it, you get complacent and you're like, I can go get Panda Express. I can have this. I can have that. Like, I'm not in the challenge anymore. And so you have to really maintain those restrictions. So, not really restrictions, but lifestyle, being healthy. Because it's weird nowadays. It's a diet to say you're eating, like, real food. Which is weird. Yeah. Like, society, because we're so used to eating processed junk and eating fast food and eating all this bad stuff, it's weird. And it's not as easy to just eat real food from the ground. But so I'm just trying to keep working on my why of why I want to maintain a healthy diet and lifestyle, why I want to keep working out, and it's for Rhaegar and you, and for us to support him, but also to show Rhaegar to keep me going, because there's definitely days where I could use an ice cream cone.
I get that.
Yeah. So that's been the hardest part for me. But that's where it's changed, though. It's remembering my why and keeping that mental discipline.
Okay. So you're saying that, I want to just touch on something that you mentioned. You're saying that it's so uncommon or it's out of the normal to eat healthy.
Yeah.
That now it's being looked at as, it's classified as a diet.
Yeah. Like, I've gotten from a lot of people, our family members, friends, just people, when we say we're doing the 75 hard challenge, and they're like, that's so weird, that's so restrictive. Like, what's your diet? That's such a strict diet. It's like, it's really not. It's how we should be eating seasonally, eating the foods that come from the ground. But because that's not normal nowadays, because all we do is go to the grocery store, buy processed foods down all those aisles, that's like life. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
It's weird. And it sounds really restrictive.
It's
but it's not.
It's definitely uncommon. And I would say, I mean, I think we've talked about this in the past, either here or just you and I, but you just look at when you go to the grocery store, and if you want to eat healthy, it's going to cost you more.
It's more expensive.
Versus, buying cereal. Now, I was listening to a different podcast, and I'm going to completely butcher this up, as I've butchered many things in this podcast, because a lot of things just come to my mind as we're speaking about them. But I was listening to the PBD podcast, and that's Patrick Bet David, that's what PBD stands for. And I was listening to his podcast, and they were mentioning, this was, I want to say a month and a half ago, how the CEO of Kellogg's, I think it was the CEO of Kellogg's, had talked about inflation and how much it's increased, and people are struggling buying groceries and just adjusting to the new norms of inflation in America. He suggested that everyone go buy cereal and just eat cereal like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And as a child, I'm not going to lie to you, that appealed to me, because I could eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I could eat Corn Pops all day long.
I always like Fruity Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles are good too. I could eat that all day long. But I would say now, I haven't had a bowl of cereal in, I would say, over 2 years.
Time, yeah. We have not, because that's one of the worst foods.
And that's the funny part.
When you're looking at it.
That's the funny part, is that he's saying, go buy cereal because it's affordable. Okay, it may be affordable.
Because you can cook it up in a lab really cheaply.
Correct, but you're literally, I don't know, just the amount of sugar and the amount of
You're saving money to kill yourself faster.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you said it better than I could have said it. And so, yeah, if you want to have a healthy lifestyle, if you want to eat organic, you want to eat seasonal. Sorry, I feel like I'm kind of losing my voice. And I'll explain why. Yesterday was just a fun day. But if you want to eat organically, if you want to eat seasonally, if you want to eat healthy, if you want to eat better, it's going to cost you. It comes with a price. And there is a monetary attachment to it, right? But there's also a discipline attachment to it. And what I mean by that is you will most likely lose all your gains, right? All the progress you've made at the gym in your fitness journey. And I say most likely because there are some people who have an incredible metabolism. And I know a couple of people like that who just could eat like pizza and burgers and bread and can just eat like everything that you shouldn't eat all day long, but their metabolism is insane. And they don't, and I don't, like I'm not a scientist, I'm not a nutrologist, so I don't know if that's good or bad, but they make it work is what I'm saying. Anyways, for the normal, the average person, is if you work out and you are living an active lifestyle, but then your diet does not reflect that, you're missing out on more gains, on more muscle, on more leniency if you're trying to get lean. And so all of that, in my opinion, goes hand in hand. So there is going to be a cost associated to it. And not only, money-wise, it's going to be more expensive. You could buy organic carrots for, I think I paid $2.99 today when we bought our groceries for a bunch of carrots. Or you can buy, regular non-organic carrots, I think for 99 cents. And so a lot of times we're going to go bargain shop, but what you have to...
chemicals and stuff.
Well, yeah, but what I was going to say is a lot of times we go out to the store and we look for deals, right? But what I've learned, what I've known, and I keep relearning, is that success, your fitness, your life, a healthy lifestyle is never for sale. It's never on discount. You can't put it on layaway. You can't, try now, buy later.
Yeah. Why do you want to find the cheaper option for your life?
Correct.
Basically, yeah.
Correct. And so that's one thing that I've appreciated and I've learned more recently. And so right now, I went on a little rant there, but what you said it made me think of that. Like, wow, you're right. We nowadays put value in saving money, and that's good to an extent, but we're not willing to do the hard stuff or pay for or sacrifice for the long-term gain.
Yeah, and one thing I think is important to note on that, and in the past I followed a lot of vegan YouTubers, and I ate vegan for a really long time. Freely the Banana Girl and Fully Raw Christina, both raw vegan, so they only eat foods literally from the earth. They don't eat the processed bad vegan stuff that you see a lot nowadays. They always said, which even though I don't do that lifestyle, I really agree with like the message they're trying to bring out, like the importance of eating this food, but you're sacrificing your money now for later down the road. So everyone eating McDonald's every day, eating that cereal every day, you're saving money now, but when you're 50, you're going to have heart disease, cancer, diabetes, all these other things that cost so much more to have those prescriptions. I know we all know that insurance isn't the best right now. It's expensive. It doesn't cover like half of stuff at most jobs. So you're going to be paying way more down the road for health to survive, to like make it to 80 hopefully, whereas we're hopefully trying to pay now so we don't have to pay that down the road.
Correct.
Because that comes with even more stuff.
Yeah, and you said it. There is a sacrifice, right? You're gonna have to sacrifice.
To sacrifice early or later.
There you go. Exactly. You're either going to sacrifice at the beginning of your life now and live a healthier lifestyle, or you're going to sacrifice it at the end, potentially having health issues or complications or things like that. Now, before you get at me, you're like, Alex, well, eating healthy or eating healthy doesn't guarantee that you're going to live a long time. Okay, that may be true, right? That's all in God's hands. But I am a firm believer that if you take the healthy approach now, you are setting yourself for future success.
And it makes you stronger with the time you have now. So if you feel horrible after you eat a bad meal or you overeat and stuff, we're hoping to eat healthy now, be stronger and healthier for our family. So even if it's God's decision that we do get cancer or an illness and one of us isn't here, at least we're strong enough now and doing the best we can with the time we have. Yeah, we're making use of that time.
And we're setting the foundation for our family and the lifestyle we want to live, for the life we want Rhaegar to see that we're living. And that's going to help us transition into the next point. I'll answer your question because you had asked me, but that's something that I want us to hold off on that, not transition just yet. I got ahead of myself because that's what we're going to talk about today, right? And so you asked me earlier, and then I started asking a bunch of questions. What was it? How am I doing?
Excited. Yeah, how was your week?
My week is I'm very thrilled right now. I'm very excited. You can maybe see if you watch this on YouTube, or you can at least hear it in my voice. Like I'm amped right now. I'm excited. I'm hyped, and there's a couple reasons for it. One of them is today is day 42. Well, at the time of us recording, today's day 42 of 75 hard, so I'm way past halfway.
Yeah.
Feeling great. Today I woke up and just took it another level. I mentioned it last time that I feel like I'm just leaving energy on the table, leaving things on the table, and I just want to start scaling that up and at least having one day a week where I just go and give it all my all, and then just get to the point of exhaustion, get to the point of breaking. Because that's where I always say shatter your limits and ascend, right? So I'm trying to find my limits constantly and then just continue to shatter them. If I hit that wall, then work through it until I get to the next level.
Yeah.
So this morning, after a long day yesterday, which we'll get to, I woke up, my alarm went off, and I snoozed it. And I knew what I was doing. I was like, I'm super cozy, just 5 more minutes. And the alarm went off again. And I snoozed it again. And my entire mindset before going to bed last night was I am going to get up and I'm going to do my walk, my outdoor walk, before the sun rises. Like I want to be outside before the official sunrise.
Yeah.
And so my alarm goes off the 3rd time. And I shut it off and I open my eye slightly and I see the sun starting to creep in like you just see daylight. Yeah. It's not officially sunrise yet, but I see the daylight. And I look at my watch and I'm like, no, I need to get up. I need to stop being lazy. I need to stop procrastinating. So I got up, gave Lynn a kiss, gave Rhaegar a kiss, got dressed, walked out the door, and then grabbed my dog. And we went for a walk. Well, it started off as a walk, but I was just feeling really good. I'm like, you know what? I haven't ran in a long time. I want to run. Let's do this. Let's go. And then we took off, right? We warmed up a little bit. Then we took off jogging, sprinted a little bit. My dog was actually running because I wasn't running fast enough, so he was pulling me, which was hilarious. But at the end of that, I did almost 3 miles. I did 2.5 miles in the 45. I did 50 minutes, but we have to do a 45-minute workout, right? So I did that in 2.5 miles in 50 minutes. Now, it isn't the best time. I know that I can run faster than that, and I can get probably 3 miles in that time, but it was the first time that I've ran.
Started.
Correct. It was the first time that I've ran intentionally in a long time. And I've been telling you, I've been wanting to get back into running. When I was training for the Dopey Challenge for the Walt Disney World Marathon run that I did, was it last year? It was last year. 2 years ago?
Yep.
22? We're in 24. Yeah, 2 years ago. Wow, time flies.
Wait.
No, it was last year.
It was the beginning of 2023.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. So I haven't ran or consistently ran, one, since after that marathon was complete. And then two, since I had fallen and did a partial tear on my ACL again. So it's been in my head. It's been in my mind. I want to run. I really enjoyed that process. I really enjoyed just continuing to push myself and get better. During that training, not just the marathon itself, but during that training, I ran more than I've ever ran in my life. I mean, we talked about it. There was days where I ran 15 miles, 17 miles, 19 miles as I scaled up to get to the full marathon. And then I did the competition, right, the run. And so I've just missed challenging myself. I feel like I'm in a season, I'm in a place of complacency, and it's very easy for me to fall back and get relaxed and say, okay, well, I've done this hard thing. I can relax for a little bit. And no, I just want to keep pushing myself. So long story short there, I went on a run this morning that started off as a walk, and it felt really great. And that's on top of what we did yesterday, which we'll talk about here shortly. But before we get there, what I do want to say is let's start with peaks and valleys, or transition into peaks and valleys, because that will help us get to our point, because I think we have a really good topic today. There's a lot to discuss, and it all is related to, mental toughness and pushing yourself to limit, challenging yourself, doing things that are out of your comfort zone. And I would say the last thing I want to add, another reason why I'm just very hyped, and this is my last quick check-in with 75 Hard, is one of my goals through this challenge was to get back to reading. I made up every excuse in my mind before why I would not read. I wanted to read, I didn't read, and then I did other things, and then it was always like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do it, and I never did it. Well, the challenge forces you to read, and it's like I said it before, it makes me mad that I need a challenge to get me to do things, and that's what I'm trying to break out of here, is that I don't want to no longer be bound to a challenge, to be proactive, right? Anyways, keep getting long-winded, but I'm excited. I finished my second book, and it is UOU by Dr. Eric Thomas. It's his latest book. I've had it for a while. I read it when I first got it, not completely. I read like 2 chapters and then I stopped it. I don't know why, I got lazy again. But I finished this book in 2 weeks.
That's great.
Not the fastest book I've read, but one of the faster ones recently.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. I couldn't put it down, and I transitioned to a different book, which I'll touch upon right now. But this book just continues to challenge my mindset, continue to challenge beliefs that I already knew, but I was not practicing. One of them, as the book says it, right? The last chapter in the book. The book is titled UOU, and the last chapter in the book is UOU. And the way he pictured, the way he wrote his story and talked about his life and everything that he's gone through and his whole journey to get to where he's at now, it's crazy. It's an incredible story. But the common denominator that I have found in this book and the last book that I read, the one that you're reading, Killing Sacred Cows, and the book I'm reading now, which I've transitioned to Andy Frisella's The Book on Mental Toughness. Again, Andy Frisella is the creator of 75 Hard, and Lynn got me this book for my birthday, so I'm very excited to read it. I just started this yesterday, and I'm already on page 63.
And it's already hurting you a little, huh?
And it's already challenging me a little. But there is a common denominator in all 3 books that I've read so far. And the common denominator is no one is going to come and save you. If you're sitting there thinking that someone's going to come and change your life around, it is false illusion. You have to put in the work yourself. You have to go out and grind out every single day. And when you get to the mundane, when it gets to the routine, when it gets to the, the same routine over and over again, that is where discipline is forged. That is where mental toughness is forged.
There's no spark notes for success.
There's
like, it's shortcut.
That's a good way of saying it. There's no spark notes for success. But yeah, that has been one of the common denominators that I found in all 3 books. Is if you want something, you have to go out and get it. You have to put in the work. You can't rely on others to put in the work for you. And it just, like I said, it's something that I've known, but imposter syndrome, fear, feeling not good enough, which is imposter syndrome, all these other things, really it's just those 2, the big main ones. Those are the things that paralyze me, have paralyzed me from moving forward. And you know this. And it gets both of us. And so I'm just hyped. I'm amped. I'm ready to go.
Good.
And
I'm glad you're excited.
That's where we're at right now.
I'm glad that you like reading too, because I've always been a really big reader in our whole relationship, and Alex would sometimes even get frustrated at me, like I'm just sitting there reading a book all day, but now he's reading more than me even. So it's exciting to see. I'm more writing now. It's like writing and then he's the reader, which is great. So I'm glad that you're enjoying reading and recommending books for me.
Yep, definitely. Which I told you, this is your next book?
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you right now,
this is your third book. I'm just hopping his books. I'm just going to read all the ones he's reading. It helps me have a better perspective of what he's really working towards too, and then it gets us on the same page.
Yeah. But no, I with that note...
Did you get my pun on the same page?
That's hilarious. With that point...
That's for you, Dad.
With that point, I do want to appreciate you and thank you because with your patience with me, because I'll read something and I'll screenshot or I'll take a picture of it and then I send it to her and I'm like, this just hit me, or what do you think of this? And then she,
I
you
love
really
that,
interact
though.
with that. So.
I think it's good for us to be able to talk through that because we're professionally developing together in different ways. And so it allows us to have those deep conversations and start stuff and be like, wow, that is like hard. Or I'll be like, let me ask you a question more about this. Like, why did this affect you? And that sort of thing. So it's been really fun. I enjoy it. Yeah. It's like book clubs for us.
Agreed. Let me see if I can find this one super, super quick. There was a quote that was related to that. I should have highlighted that. That's where I messed up.
Always write in books. Some people don't fold pages or write in books. They don't do any of that. You know what? Love the book. Put that stuff in there. And if you give it to someone, they'll be able to see your notes and get some perspective, and they can write in the margins too. I mean, Mark Twain was a margin writer. Yeah. I think we should all do that. While
I'm looking this up, sorry. Can you talk about that? Because I wrote in the Killing Sacred Cows book that you're reading. It's the first time that I've ever read in a book or written in a book. I don't know why. I've always felt weird about it. I've always felt like I'm like messing up the book.
Graffiti.
Or graffiti in a sense. But I challenged myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something that I've never done. Let me try it. And I really liked it. It helped me. It helped ingrain the lessons more and instill the lessons more. And so since you mentioned that, I'm curious, have the things that I've highlighted or written, did it help you? Did it make you think? Or were you asking yourself, like, why did he highlight this? Or just real quick while I find this.
I mean, I've been highlighting in there too. I love seeing what other people think of books. Even actually in front of the house, I have a free books thing, and I've been trying to get rid of all my college books through that because I just have like thousands of books, guys. It's a problem. There's no space unless Alex were to build me a full library, which I mean is a good thing. I would love that, but I'm not going to make him build me a full library, so I'm trying to get rid of books, and I have so many with like I had to take out sticky notes and marks, and I have highlighted written notes all over, and I just think it helps you retain the information first of all, but it also is such a good way to engage in the text, because when you read something, sometimes it's easy to forget really exactly what you're reading or not fully understanding what you're reading. So when you're able to put why next to I just read this concept, like why is this important, why does the author want to include this, even if it's a fiction book, asking like I know some foreshadowing here, and it keeps you engaged in the text, which I think is important because you're reading to hopefully expand your knowledge, have some entertainment, and it just makes it more interactive and also allows, that stuff to kind of be in there. So let's say you're reading just a fun book, you're reading Harry Potter, and you're young, and that's your first book, and you're in there reading, I love this part, and you wrote, haha, that's funny in the margins. And then down the road, you give that book to your kid, and they're reading it, and they're at that part, and they're just like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. And then they see the note that you wrote in there that you you thought it was funny. Like, that's such an amazing experience to connect on from years at a time when you were their age. Like, there's just and I'm just doing it from a fiction standpoint because a lot of people don't read professional development books.
Yeah.
But as you're writing and reading a professional development book and you're writing in the margins and stuff and you see, okay, you're questioning stuff, you're like, oh, I really need to work on that. You go back to that book a couple years down the road and see, did I do these things that I'm writing in here? And did I implement it? Where did I grow? What do I still need to improve in? So overall, there's so many things you can get from writing in the books. It's not bad. I think it's good to write in your books. Love them, use them. It's okay to fold a page too. Like, what's the book that you do? I know so many people hate that. Yes, bookmark industry going out of business with that one. But I like a good bookmark too. I use sticky notes, but I definitely don't fold his pages because I think he'd freak out.
I would.
But you can also use I always use this.
I did use
and you go through halfway the book, then you use the back one. But yeah, I mean, fold the pages. I sometimes fold them fully in half.
And it's funny because I don't know why. Like, no one has said to me, excuse me, no one has said to me, you can't fold a book. Or maybe they have when you're in elementary school.
Because you can't do the textbooks.
Yeah,
I did it for that.
The textbooks or the library books. I remember getting in trouble for that. And so maybe that's where it comes from. But yeah, I've just never liked it or I've never done it. Even in college, even in high school, even throughout school. I bet it
is the library.
I
bet that's exactly why. Because the library is like, don't do this. And they always have free bookmarks. It's just ingrained in us.
Makes sense.
But they're your books. Love them. Fold the pages.
I'm getting better at that.
I'm going to fold one and then see what you do.
And so... Well, one step at a time.
Stop. His face.
One step at a time.
Got the eyes.
Well, no, what I was going to say is I'm going to have to start writing in my books and just taking better notes because I couldn't find the quote and I didn't want to take more time.
Oh.
But if I find it or when I find it, I'll just throw it on the notes. But yeah,
I'll put it on the screen if he finds it.
Yes, sounds good. But anyways, no, I appreciate that perspective and I appreciate that insight on margins because it definitely helped me out with the previous book.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for UOU and I need to do it for the book on mental toughness. So cool. And I like how you used Harry Potter. What it made me think of is the Half-Blood Prince.
Oh, yeah.
And the textbook of the Half-Blood Prince.
That's that's a good way to relate to it.
That's a good way of doing that. All right, cool.
The potions book.
Right. All right, so let's get into what we're going to talk about today. There is something that we experienced yesterday and together, which was awesome, that relates to a topic that I think we've discussed in the past, but I want to go on a little deeper. I want to go on a little bit further. And so, Lynn, before we even start, let me just stop right now. Okay, background story. I think that's where we need to start. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. Oftentimes I get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Okay, background story. Yesterday, one of my good buddies from high school reached out to me probably a month or so ago. And it was after I had posted an archery video of when I was shooting my bow. And he goes, "Hey, did you draw, or have you looked at the archery shoots that are coming up?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "There's one for Team Whiskey. There's two shoots. Do you want to do one of them?" And I said, "Sure. Yeah, I'm game. Like I've never done one of those. I'm down to try it." And so we ended up picking one of them, and it was this past weekend. It was yesterday actually. Again, I just mentioned this. I've never done an archery shoot. I've done archery for years, but have I done it consistently? No. And when I say years, I've done archery for I think 9 years. 9 years now. 10 years. 10 years now. But out of those 10 years, have I practiced it consistently? No. I have started, stopped. So I'm not the expert that I may think I am with 10 years of experience, but I still love to do it nonetheless. Anyways, he's like, "Hey, let's do a shoot." I said, "Okay, let's set it up." And so him and I signed up together. I asked Lynn if she wanted to come and join us and get her. They do a companion pass basically. And so she said, yeah, she'd love to do it. Again, I just mentioned this. I've never done one of these, so I don't know how they work. It's an outdoor shoot, a 3D bow, 3D target shoot. So we get there, we drive. It was about a 2.5 hour drive.
Rhaegar.
We had Rhaegar. Thank you. That's important. And so it was at a ski resort. That's where they did it. That's where they were doing the shoot. Well, when we arrived, we came prepared. We had his backpack. We had his carrier. I had my carrier for him. We had his stroller.
I had brought his high chair too, his travel high chair.
Just in case. I didn't know what to expect. So we get all our gear ready. I'm getting my bow set up, getting my backpack set up. My buddy shows up. He's getting set up. We get Rhaegar set up. And we're walking to the check-in. And that's where I realized that they're using the ski lift to bring us up to the top of the mountain. And I guess the way the course was going to work is we'd shoot around the top of the mountain a little bit, and then we'd start hiking our way down. Well, the ski lift is a whole separate conversation. But at first I looked at Lynn and I was like, well, I did a little bit of research right now, and it says that the best way to carry a baby on a ski lift is to have him like on your chest, on a carrier, so he's restrained. And so I'm glad we brought that. So we're walking up to check in, and the guy goes, hey, after we check in, he's like, hey, baby can't get on the lift. And so I looked at Lynn and I was like, okay, well, I mean, we kind of prepared for this. Because I asked her yesterday morning, I was like, I don't know what to expect. I don't want you to go there and then you guys can't do what we're doing because we have Rhaegar.
It was a long drive. It was like a 3-hour drive just to get there.
Yeah, and so I said it was 2.5. Yeah. 2.5. But I was like, you can stay if you want. And she says, no, we still want to go. Let's go check it out. Let's do this together. I said, okay, fair enough. So we get there, doing the check-in and everything. And so then the guy goes, yeah, the baby can't ride. Our rule is in order to ride the ski lift, you have to be able to sit on it and get off it by yourself. And so I was like, okay, well, at that point, I almost felt like it sucks. Lynn's going to have to stay down here. I'll give her she has her keys. Like, if you need to leave, drive around, whatever, do your thing. And then the guy goes, but there's another mom who is also a spectator, has a baby. We have a side-by-side, and I might be able to arrange a ride for you to the top. And then, we'll just coordinate when you guys start your shoot time, and then she'll meet you up there. And we were there about an hour early. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, that'd be great. Thank you so much. And so we're very appreciative. So we're just hanging out for a little bit. And then it comes time for us to go to our shoot. So Lynn stayed, and it happened at that time that that my buddy and I were getting ready to go onto the ski lift or down to the ski lift area. A couple more moms showed up, and there was 4 of you that were taken up there?
Yeah, we're the 4 that lasted the whole thing.
Perfect. So I'll let you share that story, and I'll let you go because it's incredible what you guys did. So they drive the moms up there.
It was so fun too. We got to go up like the backside. All 4 of us moms were in there with the guy driving, squished in the back, and all of us had a kid with us. So there was one with a 1.5-year-old on her chest, one with a 3-month-old next to me. I had Rhaegar, who's 11, and then there's a 3-year-old.
Okay,
so
he was 3.
He was the oldest one. 3 was the oldest kid on that mountain.
Yeah, but again, like this episode, I'm gonna title it Super Moms or something because my hat's off to you ladies. So they're driving up there. My buddy and I go down to the ski lift. I've never skied or snowboarded in my life. Never. I've always wanted to, but I've never done it. So
I think I'd be nervous for your knee and your coordination.
Now,
so I'm
yes.
glad you haven't.
Now,
Good
yes.
job.
But again, I've seen ski lifts and shows and movies, things like that.
Scary movies.
But again, don't know what to expect. So we sit on the ski lift for my buddies that ski and snowboard. I know you're going to laugh when I tell this story. Or when you hear the story. So we get up to the platform. It's finally our turn to get on. And then there's a guy in front of us. And he's like, hey, do you two just want to go together as a group of 3? And we're like, sure. So I'm on the right. My buddy's on the left. No, my buddy's in the middle. And then the other guy that we met with he's on the left side. So I'm sitting down. Mind you, I'm wearing my backpack. And Lynn, my lovely wife here, puts an ice chest in there, a little mini cooler in there to keep our drinks cold. I said, hold on. I said, put the ice in the backpack and put the drinks in the backpack. It'll be fine. She's like, no, I'll put the ice chest. And I'm like, please just do what I'm telling you. And she's like, no, it'll be fine. And I didn't want to argue, so I was like, okay.
He carried the whole ice chest?
No, hold on. So, mind you, I've never sat on one of these. I'm not going to say I'm afraid of heights, but if I don't feel secure, I get a little sketched out. So it's a deep bench that you sit on, but because my backpack was sticking out like this far, I couldn't get comfortable. So I'm not comfortably sitting, but I'm sitting. My backpack is sitting the backrest. I can't scoot back in to be more secure. There is no bar, right? Like at a carnival ride. There is no seatbelts. and you're just going up the mountain, your feet dangling, and holding on by the grace of God that you don't fall.
That's scary. I
Hold
can't
on.
believe that's even allowed,
Hold
honestly.
on. Hold on.
Like for children?
Hold on. Because I could not sit correctly. And I felt like half my bum was like sitting off the chair and half of it on, half of it off. I reach over as we're leaving the platform, and all of this starts happening immediately. Like all these thoughts go through my head. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think this through. Like this is about. I can't even speak because there's just so many thoughts that were going through my mind. So as we're going, I'm like, well, there's no turning back now. I just like reach over to the bench behind me, and I squeeze so hard. I'm white knuckling it so hard that by the time we got to the top of the mountain and I had to let go to get off, my hand was so cramped and it could not open, and I had to kind of like pry it open.
Yeah.
And so that's the end of the story, but a little bit more to add. So I'm trying to get comfortable as much as I can. We're rising. The distance between the chair and the bottom of the ground, whereas just impending doom, rocks, there's no snow, right? It's summer, there's no snow up there, so just you just see a whole bunch of rocks. And so we're going up, and we're all talking, thankfully. I think that's what really helped. I had no time to look down. I looked down at one point, and I was like, oh, don't do that. Just keep looking up, and I'm holding on, and I'm holding on. And at one point, it's like if you get on a Ferris wheel and this happens to you, I think this is the worst part of a Ferris wheel. The freaking lift stops.
Yeah.
And the lift stops and the chair starts rocking back and forth. And right there is when I say I've never puckered so hard in my life. I'm not even trying to be funny. I've never puckered so hard in my life, and I continued to squeeze the back of the chair, and then I just slowly, like, I tuck my bow in, and then I just wrap my hand on the armrest right there, and I'm just like holding on for dear life. And I think my buddy noticed it, and he's just like, "You good?" I'm like, we just need to get moving." And then it starts moving, and so then eventually, we rock because we start moving again. I get to the top of the mountain, and as soon as I see that platform, all these things continue going through my head. The whole way up, I'm like, okay, well, if I fall here, I don't know if I'll survive. If I fall here, I think I'll be fine. If I fall here, I think I'll be fine. When we get to that even part as we're going through the platform, I'm like, okay, we're good. Like, I'm going to make it. I'm going to survive. And sure enough, we get to the platform, and as soon as we can touch down, my feet hit the ground so fast, and I'm trying to open up my arm. I force it and pry it open, and I just immediately jump off, and then I'm like,
he ran over to me real quick.
I just took a big sigh, and I was like, I can't believe that just happened.
He comes over to me, he's like, I think it's really good that you got driven up here.
I would not have let Lynn and the baby get on there.
Yeah.
Now I know why they make that rule and why it is that rule.
Yeah.
So that was a new experience for me.
I think it's scary that they let children on there without a seatbelt or anything, though. It's scary.
I mean, the rule is you have to get up and get down, and so
you
have to
can get down pretty easily if you fall.
Well, yeah, but you have to be still have to be a certain height to get up there.
It's
so
still scary.
It is.
It's dangerous.
It is.
There's crazy, silly people out there. You never know.
I learned a lot. Just right there, just in that first 15 minutes before we even get to the hunt, before we even get to the shoot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. Anyways, we get through that.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn's up there.
I'm at the top after our fun ride.
You're actually changing Rhaegar at the time.
Yeah, he had his diaper needed to be changed, so he's on the dirt, and I have a little changing pad out, and I'm doing a quick diaper change because I want him to be all ready to go for whatever was going to happen, because we had no idea what it was going to look like.
Correct. So there's 3 courses. There's a beginner's course, an intermediate course, and then a hard course. And we're trying to figure out which one we want to do. And so my buddy asked me, well, which one do you want to do? I was like, I don't care. I mean, this is my first one. You pick. You've done these before. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, let's go for the intermediate one. I was like, perfect. So we waited a little bit.
He was being nice, too, because we had Rhaegar, too, I think.
We let the group go, a couple groups go in front of us because we were getting all situated. Finally, we get going. We get to the first target. And I don't remember the distances of any of them except for a few, which were the ones that I'm very proud of.
Yes.
But, first shot, I hit the tree and my arrow snapped, and I'm like, well, this is the kind of day it's going to be. We get to the second target. I set up again, and this shot was a little harder because you had to go through a little opening. The trees were like this, and you had to shoot your arrow through that, and then the target was right behind it. So I go again, I set up, I'm still nervous. I'm nervous. And so I go, pull my index finger over, I pull the trigger, but I jerk it. I pulled it too hard, and so then my arrow, raises a little bit, hits the tree again. Arrow number 2 snapped. I'm like, this is gonna be the kind of day. Finally, to the third target, I'm getting, my buddy's like, hey, just ease the nerves, relax. Like, we're just here to have fun, calm down. I was like, all right. So from there, take my third shot, got it, and I was like, all right, I can do this.
He had some good shots
I can do this.
in there.
But the episode isn't about how my shots were or the archery shoot itself. The episode is about what we learned in that archery shoot, and this is where I want you to take it away. I'll give a little bit more foundation, but this is really like it's your perspective because I think it's very important. So Lynn mentioned the moms that rode up together. Again, 3-month-old, phenomenal, amazing. That's awesome that they have that baby out there that young. A 3-year-old, Rhaegar, 11 months old, and then a 1.5-year-old baby. Moms, the moms that were there doing that shoot with their babies. I said it before, I'll say it again. My hat's off, because I counted that as my outdoor workout. We shot for 5 hours, 5.5 hours.
Hiking through the whole thing, too, through a whole mountain.
And you had to go down and up elevation and then around the mountain, and then eventually we worked our way down the mountain to get back to the base of the mountain and of the resort. Or I guess the base of the resort.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we didn't have the expectation it would be that long. We were thinking like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure. And so we get to, I think, target number 7, and that's when we asked the people in front of us, because we forgot our score sheet. We were just out there to have fun. And we asked the people in front of us, and we're like, hey, what target are we on? And they're like, well, I think we're on 7 or 8. And my buddy asked, like, hey, how many total are there? And they're like, oh, 25. And then when he said 25, I looked at Lynn, because like 45 minutes had gone by then. I looked at Lynn and I was like, oh God.
That's a long time, because we were it was only at 45 minutes at number 7.
Yeah.
I think it might have been even longer than 45 minutes at that point.
Yeah.
Like, it was already, I was thinking, maybe like 18, like golf, because it was honestly like like a golf course, but for archery. So you have a score sheet, and you're just going through each one and counting how many, like, where you're getting in the circle of the 3D targets. So I'm like, that would make sense. Like, okay, we're halfway through almost. No, it was 25, and they get harder as you go, so it takes a lot longer, so you're waiting on people, just like at a golf course. So I was a little like, okay, I can do it, building up my confidence at that point, but I'm wearing Rhaegar, like, on my back, too, in the backpack. I took the chest carrier off, since I wasn't going on the ski lift, and put him in his little backpack, so that was nice.
Lifesaver backpack. Lifesaver backpack. But yes, I want you to walk us through. I don't even want to ask the questions. I just want you to walk us through your experience, what you learned through that, takeaways.
Okay.
Hey, go for it.
Okay. Well, first of all, I am so glad that Alex said we'd be there like kind of all day. It'd be an all-day thing, because that ice chest came in handy throughout this thing.
I don't know how handy it came through.
I made sure to pack everything we needed in there. So with Rhaegar, it's hard to nurse when there's a bunch of people out and you're in the woods, which I did do it a little bit, but I brought him pears, which he loved. I brought egg. I brought apples for us to eat. I brought avocado, like literally half of an avocado, like whole avocado. I was just scooping it and giving him spoonfuls of it. We got water. We had ice. So I came prepared for this shoot. I had toys, I had diapers, I had his changing pad, which I actually had to give to one of the moms who had to change her daughter out there, because we just have dirt. So she was like, I don't have anything to lay this child on. And I'm like, use my changing pad. So that was kind of fun, like all of us moms sticking together. But when we first got there, it was just really cool to see other moms. One had almost this exact backpack as me. Others had like different versions of backpacks and baby carriers. And all of us were kind of huddled together, ready to hop on that side by side. And once we got in, we were just talking about, our kids and, Rhaegar. So there's 2 girls, the little ones were girls, and then the 3-year-old boy, he's like the oldest. And Rhaegar is a flirt, so before we get on the side by side, he's flirting with the 1.5-year-old. They're like holding hands, and he's reaching out. And then I sit next to that 3-month-old on the thing, and he just keeps reaching over to her and being like, oh. And I'm like, no, you have to ask, be gentle. And the mom's just like, oh my gosh, this is so cute, because he's just like, hey, baby. He just loves children so much. So I was getting him some good girlfriends on this trip.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was really fun. But just having us all there and be really excited. All of them have done it before too, so they're kind of telling me how it went. They hadn't done that specific one, so I think it was a little longer than all of us expected. But they said, oh yeah, we've done this shoot. They did the heavenly one. So they've been in it, so they're just telling me, oh yeah, we like hike around, and it depends on the course. You just walk through it. Normally it doesn't take too long. So when we got up there, it took like 5 hours, and all of us were drained by the end. But just the experience as a whole, I'm exhausted today. My shoulders are bruised. My hips are slightly swollen where the backpack was, pinching with my belt. I hiked so far carrying our 25-pound baby.
How many steps did we do? Continue.
Yeah, if you can find it. Up like steep hills. I mean, you know what ski resorts look like. I'm hiking up these super steep hills. I'm walking down, back up. I have to stop, take Rhaegar out, give him a break from the backpack. He's playing in the dirt. So he's having a blast. I'm feeding him pears out there while I'm waiting.
So, sorry, according to my Apple Watch, 15,107 steps yesterday. And a lot of it was just us hiking.
Yeah.
So it's a total of 6.7 miles.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. I was starving when we got down.
Actually, I can tell you specifically for that one. So specifically for that one, let me see.
That's really cool that you can see that kind of stuff. But so that kind of gives a really good
this one
picture
doesn't show.
of how much I was hiking up there. I definitely wasn't prepared. I wore cowboy boots there, but I was like, I'll change it to my sneakers just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness for that. But it was so much fun being out there. Even though it was a long day and I was pretty tired at the end, Rhaegar finally passed out. I'm going to put a picture of him sleeping in the backpack because, as I mentioned many times, sleep has been the hardest thing with having a baby. He has FOMO, just like his daddy. He does not sleep. He fights sleep till the end. He was awake the entire shoot. The only baby awake the entire shoot. Even the 3-year-old took like 2 naps in the backpack. Because he had a backpack. And he was like passed out in that backpack. So the 3-month-old, the mom said that she took like a 3-hour nap out there. So she was just holding her in the bag while she was napping. And I saw the dad carrying her at one point, like sound asleep. So Rhaegar is a different breed of baby, and he's just there to have fun. He was ready to watch his dad shoot. So he was awake the whole time. And that was my job, was to watch him. Alex did an awesome job holding him once in a while and stuff and calming him down if he needed just a transition time. But it was really me trying to make him comfortable in the backpack, feeding him. I had to change a poopy diaper out there on the mountain on a slanted hill, which was pretty interesting. We were in the thicket of trees while he was shooting, and I have him on like this slanted slope on his pad. He's like throwing dirt everywhere because he hasn't really gotten the chance to play in the dirt before. He's played in grass, but he's never experienced, pine needles, wood chips, bugs, rocks. Awesome. So he's like throwing dirt as I'm like changing his diapers. So that was a fun experience. But overall, even though I'm out there 5 hours hiking 6 miles with a baby who hasn't slept since we woke up at 6 in the morning, that's such a long time, you guys, for a baby who takes 2 naps a day, normally almost 2-hour naps.
He napped for 30 minutes on the way there.
Our baby takes some hardcore power naps.
He did take a 30-minute nap. I just want to make sure we get our facts straight.
Yes, he took a hardcore 30-minute power nap.
On the way there. Yes.
On the way there, right before we got there. So that was nothing, honestly. But we managed.
We did.
He was happy. We took him out of the backpack once in a while. I carried him. I carried the backpack. Alex had the ice chest. I fed him a little. Tried to nurse him. He wasn't interested in that though because he was in the forest. He wanted to throw rocks. At one point, we were at one of the hardest parts of the shoot.
It was the hardest shoot.
Yeah.
That target was the hardest target.
Yeah, you can explain it if you want.
You go for it.
Okay. Well, it was a stone sheep in between
2 rocks.
And it was just a buildup. We were waiting for like 30 minutes or longer to even get to be able to shoot because so many people were there. And it's a treacherous hike down to get your, retrieve your arrows. So we were sitting there waiting for ever at that point, and it was almost the end. So we had reached our 4.5 hour mark of no naps and being in a backpack. So I have Rhaegar out the whole time, and he's rolling in the dirt. You guys, he's a dog digging holes in the dirt. He's standing on all fours, kind of looking like a dog or monkey, digging. He was taking rocks, banging that. He was putting on a show actually for all the cute women archers out there. He's banging rocks, and then he starts eating it, and I'm like, no, and he's like, ha ha ha, eat it, no, ha ha. It's a game, playing wax on, wax off, eating rocks, but it was so much fun, and you could see how much joy he was getting being outside. All the moms and us, we were in the same groups, kind of there was one way far ahead of us, one the next group, and then one with us.
Because we ended up linking up with 2. There was 2 other shooters.
Yeah.
It was 2 shooters and one of the shooters' his wife and the 3-year-old boy. And they were right in front of us. And so halfway through the shoot, we were like, hey, we were waiting. Yeah, we had what's it called? We had gotten to a target or a shoot where there was a bunch of people congregating, and in order to keep the line moving, they just asked hey, you guys have been behind us the whole time? Do you guys just want to join us? We're like, yeah, sure. So we ended up joining their group.
Yeah, and they were so nice and so fun to be able to do that. So I was connecting with the wife who had the 3-year-old. So we were talking. We're this is a lot longer than we thought, and her son didn't want to be in the backpack a lot of the time, so she was carrying him, and he's probably 45 pounds, she said. Props to her for carrying him just in the arms, because I get tired carrying Rhaegar on my hip. So I really forced him to kind of be in the backpack a lot of the time when we weren't taking breaks and letting him kind of stand and be free. So she did amazing. But just talking with all of the moms when we all got built up on that one, the sheep shoot.
The stone sheep, yeah.
All of us were just hanging out, talking, playing. Our kids were playing. I let the one mom use my changing pad. It was just such a cool experience to see. We were all exhausted. We were all hungry, thirsty, tired. We're watching our babies, but everyone's in good spirits. We're all supporting our husbands out there. All the husbands and guys just out shooting, they were like, you guys are so tough for being out here, because you could hear all the men. And ladies, we know how men can, complain a little. They were complaining about carrying their bows and their shoes, and they're like, gosh, it's so hot. Where's the whiskey guy? Because there's a guy passing out Coors Light and whiskey shots and water. He gave me a water. But...
Can't forget the water.
Yeah. They were like, gosh, that guy needs to be at this shoot. And it was just really funny to see, the empowerment and support we got from all the men there, and the women who didn't have kids. They're like, that's so cool. They would come over and, see the kids. Got some cute, I'm sure their grandpas out there, because they're, older men. They're like, oh, let me play with your kid. I had one guy just, teasing Rhaegar up there. It was just such a positive atmosphere, because everyone... throughout the whole thing, when we had groups coming behind us waiting on us, or we got up to a group, they all were just I think it's so cool that you are bringing your babies out here so they could experience it, because all of them are we don't see this. Your kid doesn't have an iPad up in that backpack. They were shocked that we were even taking the steps to go up on this side by side just to start the hike, even down at the base camp to get everything started. They're like, okay, we have some moms wanting to go up, and they're like, okay, we'll figure a way to get you up there. And the environment was so positive, because a lot of people would not do that, and once you're up there, you can't go back. The whiskey guy wasn't taking us back down, so you had to make it through the whole entire shoot.
Yeah.
Once you're up there. So I think they actually stopped bringing moms because some didn't want to do the whole thing. So they're like, you got to either do the whole thing or you're not going up there. But it was just a really cool experience to see how positive everyone was, how encouraging, how lenient and supportive they were. You know, I had a group coming down when I was changing his diaper. I'm like, I'm just over here changing a diaper. They're like, no problem, we'll stay right here, like no rush. And super nice, let me like cut in front of them while they're getting everything ready. It was just really cool to be able to be there, support Alex while he was shooting, because even though he said the first 2 shots weren't the best, he had some really good ones in there. And we were having so much fun with his friend who has a child, so he understood and was super supportive, and he was playing with Rhaegar throughout it. It was just such a happy, nice time. And a big takeaway is I came prepared, so we had everything we would need if something did come up, if you got hungry, if you need entertainment. We had the backpack, I had the chest carrier if we needed to transition to that. We had the things we needed. Honestly, we needed more food for us. I was more prepared. We're water for him and food for Rhaegar, but we needed a snack because I was dying of starvation by the time we got down.
I've never tasted such a juicier and more satisfying apple.
Yeah, I brought 2 apples.
Than that apple we ate up there.
I know, it was so good. I was like, I should have bought the whole bag of apples. Like, I would have totally taken out, because Rhaegar didn't even play with some of his toys. Yeah. I'm like, I could have fit all the apples in here.
Well, here's the funny part to that too. That's probably 2.5, 3 hours into the shoot, and mind you, I took my hunting backpack there as my my hiking backpack and for the shoot. And when we got there, as we were getting ready, I opened it up. I was like, oh crap, I forgot to take all this stuff out from shed hunting. And I had my jet boil in there. I had some beef stroganoff, mountain house food, water obviously, and then all the utensils. But I was like, I don't need this. And so I put it in the back of my truck. Well, up there, my buddy's like, you know what would have been perfect? He's like, if we would have just had the rehydration. But what's the other brand? There's Mountain House, and then what's the other brand?
I don't remember.
Anyways,
there's so many, but yeah.
He's like, it'd be perfect if we had some if I had my jet boil and we had some food up here. And in that moment, I was like, that sounds amazing.
Yes.
Why did I forget that? Or why did I leave that? Yeah, we had everything.
Could have, but we didn't know at that point how long it would be. We were just getting our backpacks ready.
Yeah.
So now, if we were to do that again, guys, I'd go all out. I love cooking in the woods. It's like one of my favorite things. Every time we have a fire in the backyard, I'm like, we have to use the coals for something. I will cook anything, even if it's an egg and it's not breakfast time. I'm making something on that fire because I love cooking outside. So that is something that next shoot we're bringing a full meal and we're just gonna have a picnic out there.
Yeah, no, I love it. I agree.
Yeah,
I'm thinking the same way. And so, no, overall, is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, yeah, you can.
Okay. Overall, it was, from my perspective, everything that Lynn said is true. But from my perspective, it's just, it doesn't do it justice because, or explaining the story doesn't do it justice is what I'm trying to say. Because what I saw was just incredible. As she mentioned, you had parents there with their children, and not just the 4 that we're talking about that were young, or that were the babies, but you had 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds participating in the shoot with their dad.
Bows. You guys, the bows are like the same height as them, and so cute.
And so it just made me so happy to see so many people.
There was a mom shooting with a baby on their back too.
She was a couple groups ahead of us, so we didn't really interact with her. But her and her husband were trading.
She's the one I shared the changing bag with.
Yeah, her and her husband were trading off while she shot. He held the baby. When he shot, she held the baby, and they were just kind of going back and forth that way. But it just, and that's important to note because that's what I was going to mention, is one of the lessons that I would say learned here is, this is parents, right? This is for the parents. Oftentimes we hear either friends, family, or whatever, society say, once you have a baby, your whole life's going to change. Once you have a baby, you can't do this. Once you have a baby, you can't do that. And I say, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say to that because we keep a clean show here. But I say that is incorrect. You can still live the lifestyle that you have with a baby. Now, I will say, some lifestyles are healthier than others. If you're out there drinking all the time, going out, partying, That's probably not the best thing to do
Yeah, and
while you have
putting
a
your
child.
baby in that environment
Yeah,
too.
that's probably not the best thing to do. But hiking, fitness, eating healthy, hunting,
Even
fishing,
going to restaurants.
going to restaurants, going to movies, going on
Grocery
date nights,
shopping.
grocery shopping. I mean, you can
Grocery
go.
shopping's a big one because I know a lot of people don't take their kids grocery shopping because they can be bad in there. But I think taking them teaches them like how you need to behave, similar to a restaurant.
Yeah, I completely agree. And so there have been, aside from date nights, there have been two or three events where we did not take Rhaegar. Other than that, he's always been with us. And we have maintained a very similar lifestyle, an improved lifestyle, I would say,
Yeah.
than before we've had Rhaegar. And it made me so happy to see and be around like-minded individuals who have the same beliefs, who want to grow or who want to instill the same values and foundation in their family.
Yeah.
And Lynn mentioned it. Like there were no kids there had iPads. No kids there were on their phone. No kids there were not fully present in that moment.
Yeah. The only thing was one kid was throwing a tantrum and they gave him some M&Ms. But you know what? I was like, that's like gold up here. You should be giving them, trying to sell them to all the shooters. Because we were all low sugars at that point.
It's funny because I don't think we were the only ones. And there's a bunch of people there who have done these shoots many times. But it's funny how there's still lessons learned because I don't think we were the only ones who did not have enough food.
Yes.
Because we heard that constantly throughout.
Everyone was starving. Yeah. I definitely should have made like some sandwiches, made something for you that you could have eaten because, oh, guys, I was hungry.
Yeah, no, it was a long time.
I had like 2 dinners.
It was
I had the
time.
dinner there and I showered and then had second dinner because I needed calories.
It was good though. When we had that dinner before we left, that we got dinner to go, perfect. Some tri-tip.
Some
with
chili.
some chili.
Well, it was not really chili. It was like a stew because it had beans in it.
No, thank you. Thank you. Right here, right now, we're going to have our first debate. Okay? Does chili, and when I say we, us and you guys, does chili have beans in it? Yes or no? Throw that in the comments. Let us know. To us, if you put beans in that, it's not chili.
No.
It's stew. Or it's something else, but it's not chili.
Meat soup, but yeah, it had a bunch of beans. It had pinto beans, black beans in there. It wasn't chili, but it was good, whatever it was.
I made the comment to Lynn. I was like, because they said either chicken breast or tri-tip with chili, salad, and cornbread or garlic bread. And so we're going through the line, and I see that concoction, and then the sign says chili, and I'm like, that's not chili. And Lynn just starts like looking at me, and she starts laughing. I was like, no, it's got beans. That's not chili. And I said it kind of loud, and I think the chef heard me. And Lynn's like, shut up. And I was just like, oh, my bad.
I was like, he's not from Texas.
I said, my bad.
He gave us a good fair helping though.
It was no, the food was delicious. The food was, and it hit the spot after that long day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, overall.
The apple was still better though.
It was. Overall, one of the lessons there, like I said, is as a parent, right? There is still so much you can do with your child. It's going to look different. I'm not going to say it's going to look the same. Because as Lynn mentioned, we had to stop. There'd be times where, and you be my you check me here. Yeah. There'd be times where I could tell she did not want to be an inconvenience, because you're not, but she didn't want to be an inconvenience and say, hey, like I need to take my backpack off, or can we get him out for a little bit? Or in fact, she didn't want to take him out of the backpack because he was just comfortable there. But that's where it takes two. That's where as partners, okay, as a married couple, you have to understand each other's signals, or if you don't see the signals, be able to anticipate what your partner needs. Because at one point, Lynn had gone maybe an hour and 20, maybe hour and 30 without taking the backpack off, and I could tell that she was exhausted. And I was like, hey, we're at a group, we're backed up right here. There's a couple people shooting in front of us. Even if it's just 10 minutes, just take the backpack and rest. Sit down, relax. And so I'd help her get the backpack off. We'd set Rhaegar down, and then I'd look. I'm like, all right, we got plenty of time. So I'd unbuckle him, and I'd play with him. Or I'd hold him, and Lynn would feed him. And we'd interact with him. Just give him a different scenery. But yeah, it's going to look different, right? If it was just me and Lynn and my buddy, and we were all three shooting without a baby, we probably would have blown through that course. Yeah. But would it have been as fun? I don't think so. I had so much fun yesterday, and I know that this is something that Lynn and I go back and forth with right now. about my archery hunt. I drew an archery hunt, if you guys remember, that starts in August. I would love for nothing more than for my family, for my wife and my son to be there. Now, can that happen? We're still working out through those logistics. And if it doesn't happen, I understand. But if I could, if just yesterday was what I could have and not have them there for my hunt, I'm very, very satisfied and very happy because we got to do something together as a family that we're passionate about. I'm more passionate about archery than she is, but the outdoors we're all passionate about.
It was nice being out.
Being together, struggling together, growing together, challenging ourselves together. It was just such a cool experience.
I feel like I shattered my limits out
Oh, you
there.
100% did.
I was tired tired him that whole way, and it wasn't an easy hike. I mean, it's steep to ski and snowboard on these mountains. So and like I mentioned before, that walk to go retrieve your arrows after the sheep, where everyone got backed up. Everyone was falling down that hill. Everyone was sliding. We created a train.
You, myself, the mom and husband in front of us were the only four that did not fall.
The mom fell, remember?
Oh, she did, you're right, yeah.
With her,
she did slide.
She slid slightly, and the husband caught her because she was holding her 3-year-old. But yeah,
it was a steep climb down.
And that was the intermediate. I was telling him as we were walking down, I wonder what the expert course looks like. Because that would have been rough. Because a lot of people then do the beginner one. You know, everyone wants to challenge themselves. So it was a lot busier on the intermediate course. But I'm glad that we did that. Because I felt really tired afterwards, but I felt so accomplished.
100%.
Like, I was able to hike that far, that long with Rhaegar. I was prepared. We had everything we needed. And it's just really not being lazy with your kids. Like, yeah, it can be harder. You have to work a little harder, but the reward is so much more.
And think about what you're instilling, right? I see the parents who are at their son was 3 years old. I want to believe, and I do believe, that he is seeing hard work, what hard work looks like, what mental toughness looks like, what family bonding looks like. In fact, one of the guys in that stone sheep shot that Lynn was talking about, there was like 6-7 groups because it took a while, because that was the last shot that you took before you started really scaling down the mountain. And so after your group shot, it took about 5-10 minutes to get down there, retrieve your arrows, and then start moving on to the next one. So it bottlenecked. It got busy. So at one of the groups shot, and at this point all the moms were there huddled, we were all together, we had all caught up, and the guy goes, "Wait, are you guys all shooting together?" And he was talking to us, and then he asked the same question to the other people, and we're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I love that." He's like, "Families that shoot together stay together." And I was like, I amen to that. And I was like, in fact, we took him shed hunting a couple months ago, and we love to do everything together and be outdoors together. And the guy just had the biggest smile on his face. He's like, "That is awesome. I love to see that." And we do too, because at times it can feel, I do believe that we may ruffle feathers in our friend groups or in our family group, because we do have a different way of thinking. So there are times where we feel like, well, damn, like we feel lonely because we don't have people who are like-minded in different areas. But it felt really good to be around that environment yesterday and make those connections.
It didn't make, even though we were so tired, we were hungry. Alex, I can't imagine how your shoulders are feeling after shooting all that, but it made it not feel draining or exhausting. Like, you just had all this positive energy, even on those last few parts where it was really hard. Like, the hardest part where you have the lowest energy, but it's like survival, like you don't want to fall. It was such a positive experience, and everyone kept the energy alive, so you felt really good.
And people would cheer for you, people would give you pointers, people were I love archers. I've always have. That's one of the reasons why I got into archery, a transition from archery versus rifle shooting. I love archers. Just like anything, there are your good ones, there are your bad ones. But for the majority, most of the archers that I've met have been phenomenal people.
Because they understand the hard work that has to be put in to do that. Because it's not like rifle. You have to get closer. You have to be quiet. You have to really practice your skill and not rely just on like a scope and distance shot. So they all knew the assignment, that it was going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of work for everyone involved. And that on top of us bringing babies, it takes, it was a village. All of us were supporting each other. Even if they weren't like helping hold my baby, they were being positive and helping their baby. And that just creates such a positive environment.
In fact, one group that didn't even have any babies that was shooting behind us.
Mm-hmm.
At one of our stops, Rhaegar had dropped one of his toys.
It was a banana.
It was a banana, yeah, one
from
of his
his
toys.
shopping cart.
And you just hear him as we're walking out, like, "Hey, you left your banana here." And we're like, "Oh, snap, thank you." And they're like, "We'll meet you down." We're like, "Okay." And so we just kept going
Got
through
it
the
quite
course.
a few
Yeah.
shots down the road. They're
And then-
like, "Here's your banana."
Yeah, and then they caught up and they're like, "Here you go." And then they immediately run to the whiskey truck because the whiskey truck was right
Yeah.
there. So it worked out for them too.
Yeah.
But no, it's just an incredible community, and I love it. And you know, just being able to be around that environment and talk to people who love the outdoors, who conserve the outdoors, who are really grassrooted in the outdoors. It's refreshing, and it was awesome.
And being outside also gives you that different type of energy. You know, it's like this beautiful thing God created, and it's meant, like, we're meant to be out there. I would think if I have Rhaegar in that backpack and we're maybe at a sports event or we're in a mall or doing something long term like in the city, I don't think it would have the same energy. Like, yes, we bring him everywhere and stuff, but because we're outdoors, it's just so much more invigorating and has such a better, like, pulse on our mind.
Yep.
It makes us feel better being out there. It creates such a better environment too, compared to kind of being around all the technology and a lot of people who don't really have that same perspective.
Correct. Okay, so guess what? It happened again. Rookie move. Before we started, we put the battery on the camera to charge, thinking we had enough juice to go through the podcast. And as you can tell, or you can probably guess, I should say, we did not, because right in the middle, or right as I was about to go and give my second lesson learned, the camera died.
It did.
And it's embarrassing that we're 13 episodes in, or this is episode 14, and we still haven't apparently learned the complete lesson. So I apologize. We apologize.
It's okay.
For this
It happens.
interruption.
I can make it look pretty.
But you know what? I do want to give some additional context because I think it relates to the episode itself, or just some additional things. Everything happens for a reason, and this is an extra lesson. Everything happens for a reason because prior to us recording, one of our dogs, hadn't been eating for the last couple of days, or eat very, very little, and started. You know, she's older. She was about to turn 12 in July, and you know, we woke up this morning, tried to feed her. She still wasn't eating. My father-in-law said, "Hey, you know, I've tried everything. I don't know what else to do." And so I said, "Okay, you know, God put it in my heart that it was time to go to the ER." And so I called the emergency the emergency animal hospital, and they said, "Hey, bring her down." And so I brought her down, and they started doing some observations for her and some X-rays and some blood work. And they called me literally 5 minutes after the camera died, and it was to let me know that they needed me to come down there so I can go over the results with me. And my father-in-law and I went down there. Lynn met us a little bit later once we got the diagnosis, but unfortunately, our dog Ella had a massive tumor on her chest and another developing tumor on her kidneys. She was still drinking water. She was still going to the bathroom where as she could, but hadn't been eating the last couple of days, and we had to make the difficult decision of making sure she had an easy transition versus her being in pain. And so we're coming right back from that. We had to put our dog down. It's never an easy decision. It's probably one of the harder decisions you have to make because selfishly you don't want to, but you have to think about them. And this is the second time we've had to make this decision in the last 5 years.
I think Herrick's been gone now for
6 years.
5 or 6 years.
6 years, okay.
Yeah.
And that was Herrick was Lynn's dog, and then Diogi, he was my first dog. He passed away last year, the day after Rhaegar was born. So imagine
On his own,
and he had a stroke. And so imagine, it was a mix of emotions where I'm happy that my son is alive and that he's born, and my wife's good, she's recovering, and then and mind you, at this point actually Rhaegar was still in the NICU. So we were, that was another mental battle. And then get a call from my brother the next morning after Rhaegar was born that our dog Diogi had passed away. He was going outside to go to the bathroom and just kind of dropped and shook and or convulsed, and then he had passed. And so yeah, we've lost a couple dogs as a family. We've lost in our family. We've lost a couple dogs in the last couple of years, and so it's never an easy decision. It's never easy to go through it, but we know she's in a better place. We know she's with our other dogs, and we're happy she's at peace and no longer in pain. And like I said, this is an episode of super moms or super women, and she was not a mom. she never had any puppies, but when I say she ran the house and she ran the dogs, well, she ran the dogs, she didn't run the house, but she ran the dogs. It's because she ran the dogs. The dogs were terrified of her in a good way, I would say. She was definitely the alpha
created
female.
The boundaries
100%.
Of the house.
And so she fought a good fight. She made it almost to 12 on the day. A month from today would be her birthday, but I would like to dedicate part of this episode to her because she was an amazing dog, and we loved her, and then she was we were saying this as we were there with her, but she's not a hunting dog. She's a mutt. She's a half German Shorthair, half Timberwolf, half, I guess, a third Timberwolf, a third German Shorthair, a third Lab. She's mixed, and she was the most efficient hunter I've ever met. And when I say what she hunted was rodents, so mice, rats, and squirrels, or varmints, I guess.
Yeah.
But she would stalk them and find them, and then once she got them, she'd claw them, and that's how she'd kill them, and then she'd pick them up and bring them to me or my father-in-law or Lynn or someone, and drop them right at your feet and say, "Where's my treat?"
Yeah, and we give her a treat. We give her a reward for doing that. She'd bring them in the house or outside, wherever you're at.
No. She never brought them in the house. She would only drop them right at the dog door.
She brought it in the house once when we were in Texas, and my mom found it, and she was like, "This is gross."
That's hilarious.
But it's probably because she was bringing it to my mom. She's like, "She's not going to come out to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it to her."
That's hilarious. Yeah, she had attitude. She hated getting wet.
She hated the snow. She didn't like the cold.
She didn't like being cold.
She was a bad wolf.
She was interesting, but she was full of life and full of love, and we're definitely gonna miss her, and we're very thankful for the time that we spent with her. And so, here's an additional lesson onto that. Not only God's timing is always perfect and things always happen for a reason. Camera died, and we got the phone call. We had to go, and again, everything happens for a reason. But the other lesson there, I would say, is if you have animals, if you have pets or whatever, spend time with them. I know that's something that I constantly work on, because life can get in the way, and you start prioritizing other things, and you think that they're going to live there forever. Well, I guess depending on the animal you have. If you have a horse, they do tend to live for a long time. But dogs, the average dog lifespan is 10 to 12 years, right? And that's the average. And so Herrick, her dog, made it to 15. Diogi made it to 13. Remy right now is 11, and Ella was about to turn 12. And so we know that we have dogs that are on that upper scale. And so this is that part of life, part of that journey. And so even though we don't want to accept it, or we don't want that day to come, I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I prepare for that daily. Especially this last hunting season, I could tell Remy was a little bit more slow and getting more tired, and so that's the one that's going to hit me the most. Not that I don't love my dogs, or my other dogs as much as I love Remy, but Remy and I just have that special bond because he's my hunting partner, he's my best friend, and so that's something that I just constantly have in the back of my head. And God already fulfilled my wish by allowing him to live this long and see my son be born. That's all I wanted, was for him to meet my son once we knew that Lynn was pregnant. And we've had that, and he plays with him, and there's pictures, and he loves him, and he protects him, Remy protecting Rhaegar and loving Rhaegar, and it's just I'm very, very blessed. And so very thankful that we got to spend this time with our dogs, and be home and be with Ella. And yeah, I put her in God's hands, and I know she's there, and we love her.
And we're going to honor her tonight at family dinner, because she is the timing, we're going to do a little memorial for her. So that will be good for all the family to get together.
Correct. And one thing that I've definitely learned from ET, and I've had this kind of, I've just seeing my dad, I talked about this, he processes death differently. I've learned that, I've picked it up, I process death differently. So I don't, I'm sad. I'm not going to say I'm not. But I also come to terms with it really quickly, and I realize like, hey, this is part of life, and I choose. This is the other part. I choose to remember them for when they were healthy, when they were alive. People, animals, whatever. I choose to remember them when they were alive, and good memories versus the last moments. And the last moments were not, were not pleasant. She was. You can tell she was not there, and she was tired, and she was in pain, and so those aren't the moments that I want to remember. I want to remember when she was playing, when she was a puppy, when she would chase when she would chase the other dogs, when she was digging holes and all this other stuff. And so that's what I hold on to, and that's what I hold on to for others as well, that are no longer with us. But anyways, just wanted to be transparent on what happened with the camera. I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm going to look at either a different camera. So if you guys know better cameras that have a longer battery, or obviously I could buy a better battery, but if you know of other cameras that are better for podcasting, let us know. And I think it's getting close to start making some updates to our equipment, because I don't. This is definitely not what I want to do.
I'm going to Best Buy right after this.
And that was the game plan, and then we got the phone call, and so the plans changed. But the lesson that I'll end on this. The lesson that I was gonna share, and I remember what we were talking about, was that children will pick up what they see from their parents, especially from their mom.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to live a healthy life, if you want your children to live a healthy lifestyle, you have to set the example. You have to lead the pack as the husband, as the wife, as the parents. And I know that if I'm doing what I'm supposed to, it will give you the confidence to follow and also live that healthier life. And then Rhaegar will pick that up from you, and I'm like, okay, this is normal. This is what mom and dad do, and we we move forward as a unit. And so I encourage you to, as parents, I encourage you to do difficult things, right? Run a marathon, or do a 5K. Start with a 5K. Do a 10K. Swim or lift weights, or find look for a different, more active and healthier lifestyle, and your children, your family will eventually start following.
And include them.
That's the biggest part.
You can do training, you can go swimming, you can run, and include them. There's always ways around it. Just come prepared. I had a quote I was going to read. I don't have it anymore, but I had it out. You'll see my phone in the previous clips. But it was James Clear, I think, is the author of Atomic Habits, and he says, man, I already forgot it. It's like you succeed. You guys, I need it. Hang on. I have it. I didn't realize my phone was there. Okay. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
Yeah.
And I live by that, because it's really how I was able to be successful on this trip for watching Alex shoot. I had everything I needed in case it came up. I prepared, I planned, I put systems in place, so I knew that we could have a good time and Rhaegar could experience something like this. So do that with all the things you're working on. Include your kids. It's not that much extra work, and if it is a little extra work to include them, do it. You chose to have kids, or it was an accident, but they're there, and you want them to live a good lifestyle, and you want to continue living your life too. You don't want to be held back by any means. So include them, create those systems so you can be successful in living your life as you were before you had kids. It's all in how you're planning and preparing and going in with the mindset that you can do it. You don't have to listen to everyone saying, like, your life's going to change, it's going to be a lot, like, you're not going to be able to do things. You can do them. It's how you plan and create your systems to do it. Yeah. And to not be lazy. It's okay. Do it. Show your kids you're working hard and doing it, because then they will do the same thing as they're grown up.
Yeah, it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
It's definitely okay to fail. I talked about this. We've talked about this several times. There's a lot of things that we fail at, and although it sucks to fail, you have to look for the lessons in that failure and then make those pivots, make those adjustments to then go and not make those mistakes again. Yeah. Apparently camera mistakes are still the ones that I'm going through.
It's okay. It hasn't happened that
much. But other than that, no, it's important to try things, and if you fail at them, no big deal. Get back up, try it again. Right? Don't be stuck in that mindset that things are, like, your life is over, that things are completely different because now you have a child, or the dynamic is different. In fact, I'm not going to lie to you. Again, I said this last week. We're not there yet, but having a second baby right? Having God willing, we want another boy, right? For Rhaegar to have a brother. I'm already thinking in my head, like, how could we do this with 2 people?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie to you. I told my dad yesterday, I was like, I'm bringing you along next shoot. I was like, even if it's just to help carry Rhaegar. He just laughed. So I'm already thinking in my head,
Hey,
what
I
can
put
we
the
do?
carrier on and have a baby in the backpack and have the little one here.
You better keep doing more.
It'll work.
Better keep doing more working out.
I'll
Cause
just a Stairmaster with a backpack
there
on
you
or
go.
something.
But no, I'm already thinking about, okay, if we add another child, right? If we have another baby and we add another, if we add another baby to a shoot like this or an event like this, what do we need to do to make those adjustments and still have everyone out there and experience that fun?
Yeah.
Right? And so you just have to think through it and try it. If you fail it or it doesn't work, try something else.
Yeah.
Look at YouTube. YouTube is in the world's encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, what's the worst that could have happened if I couldn't make it up the mountain with him? We just stay where we're at and be like, hey, whiskey guy, come back and get me. And we go to the car and I get the stroller. Like, there's always ways you can go around it if for some reason something's not working.
Yeah.
So just be prepared.
I would have carried
but
you on
have
my
a
back.
positive attitude, too. And say, yes, I can do it. Figure it out.
Would have thrown you guys on there. Let's go.
Yeah, both of us?
Yeah. Tested my knee
With your bow?
with my bow.
Yeah, I don't know how that would have worked. That would have been kind of silly. There's a lot of guys there, though. We could get someone to carry us up.
I love it. Although while we were up there, I was thinking about it. I should say, I said to myself, a deer cart would be perfect here.
Yeah.
You just kind of like roll all your equipment, you roll it down.
You know what? We could even do like a sled, like boat
Yeah.
thing. Put both kids on that,
Yeah.
depending on the age.
Yeah, I mean, in that terrain, that sled probably would not have worked. It would have broken, but
It was flat in the flowery.
There's a lot of
area.
rocks.
Let's not go into
those little rocks. Hence
yeah.
why a lot of my arrows snapped on impact.
That sounds like a personal problem, though, that he's working on.
That's
It's
true.
okay.
That's true. Anyways, thank you so much as always, thank you so much for your patience, for your time with us. We really appreciate it. We are always open to feedback. If things that we can improve on or things that we haven't touched upon or you have any questions, like reach out and let us know. But other than that, given the circumstances, yes, things did change a little bit from my day today, but I still refuse to be sad. I still refuse to let, life circumstances dictate how happy I was, how happy I am.
Yeah, we're gonna
I still am happy.
Ella
We're
and
going to
make it
remember
happen.
Ella. We had an incredible weekend yesterday, and unforeseen circumstances happened today, but we still keep moving. The world keeps turning. You got to keep moving forward. Life's going to throw things at you. Things are going to happen, and no matter what, you still have to keep moving forward. So there is no what was I going to say? There's no I just lost it. What I'm trying to say is, as I always say, shatter your limits and ascend. There's no more true moment than right now to say that, right? So push through, get through it, go through the pain. The end result will be worth it. You have to sacrifice either at the beginning or at the end, and I'd rather sacrifice right now at the beginning. So get after it, chase your dreams, because no one's going to chase them for you. I could throw so many more
I know, you got a lot in there.
quote cliches there, but they're all true. They're all
Yeah,
true.
that's why they're cliches, because you hear them all the time.
The one that's the most important, though, is the one that I just said. Shatter your limits and ascend. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. God bless.
Bye, guys.